photography. I'll have to read it. Cloudfacetweetflickpress.
Oh, I just came up with it.
Yeah. Let's go.
I say, I pride myself as being quite tech savvy, and the ITS lectern thing just made me feel I've lost 20 IQ points. Recently I realized that I'm probably now at the university more than most. I'm coming up to 18 years here. So I was right at the beginning when people were trying to do things in a different way. Blackboard was one of my really hot topics about 12 years ago. I was one of the early adopters, which made me very popular with my wife, who at CDoTL was one of the champions of Blackboard. I'm not that popular with my wife anymore. Most of the stuff that I'm going to talk about relates to a postgraduate course. We run. This allows us quite a lot of flexibility. We can try out things much more flexibly with postgrads and then gently roll them down to undergrads if we think we need so. This is an extremely international course. We usually have 1 or 2 token Brits out of a cohort of 15 every year. Most of our, actually, our dominant nation is the United States. So we're extremely international. The interesting thing about our domain is that there isn't a recognized set of literature that's publicly available in most of the countries that we recruit from, and where our graduates tend to go and become lecturers and professors themselves. So we're using the material we put online here as a way of building a field of knowledge that others can access. And I'm going to talk quickly how I started using a number of stuff that at face value might look like recruitment or general online presence to begin to contribute to this. The reason is Blackboard. We try to do quite a lot of the Blackboard. Guy and Richard have an endless string of emails by me asking things like, can we have wikis on Blackboard? Can we have blogs on Blackboard? Can we have do this, that, the other? And then me yelling that the thing just doesn't do it the right way. The big problem with Blackboard is it's a walled garden. Once something happens in Blackboard, it stays there. Once people graduate, they don't have easy access to it. If we want to link things dynamically with stuff outside, it's a real hassle, which makes it a non-starter for us. So if you just go and see what we are, you'll see a slightly different homepage from most of the university departments online. And we're trying to use random links there, so random hits there, to link to the stuff that we have online. The first thing that is more central to what we do is our blog, which is based on the university servers and has been very useful in trying to get staff that are normally a little bit hesitant about engaging with new technologies to actually do stuff. So we will have people who are complete virgins in posting online, producing little blog posts about things that are happening, putting links to resources, and this is our way of getting people used to stuff. And I'll put these aside. We use a Tumblr site, but Tumblr is a very easy online blogging environment, to put longer text that relates to teaching. So we might put reviews on publications, for example, or we might put book lists. Now, the value of one of our book lists being online is pretty critical in our field because most of our audience worldwide has no idea what the literature is to begin with. So we're creating these reference lists, not only for our students here, but also for graduates and people elsewhere. So the things have double roles. We also have a website where we put selected work by graduates, which again is very interesting because a lot of this stuff is quite original research. Our MA resources are closer to MPhil in terms of the research that they're doing, which creates a fairly coherent body of knowledge for a wider audience. And we have quite a few hits on this. This thing on a good month will get 8,000 to 10,000 hits. I don't know who are these 10,000 people who are interested in typeface design worldwide, but they're out there. So 4 main channels of communication, and then there's stuff that you think might be a bit ephemeral and light, but Flickr has proved a huge resource for us because we always have students who are very much interested in photography. So we've had, don't record this, photography done for us on the cheap. People with pretty serious photography skills come and produce resources that we then can use. Now, all of the stuff that we have in our collection is ex-copyright. It's pretty historical material, so there are no issues with putting things online. And we're quite happy for these resources to be there. So once we do some initial training on annotation and referencing images, then we're creating this body of work out there that people can use quite a lot. There's about 4,000 images upon this now, which create very interesting sets. And because they are grouped by lectures, people can go back and find out what it is that they had seen in the lecture. So we don't have to provide the same material in Blackboard and have to carry it over and worry about language and so on. It's there. We also have personal blogs where we will post things like lecture notes from conferences and so on. Things that would not normally be part of what students get, but it's relevant to what they're studying, and it shows them a different side of their staff activity. This is last week, a one-day TED thing in Poland, relevant to their field of study. Notes are online, they can go and get it, and it creates a certain buzz. So a collection of sites that we contribute material to, let's say, as and when. We try to focus on posting things online when there's something interesting to post, rather than keep an online presence constantly. The result of this is actually pretty good exposure online. We use Twitter both for the program and on staff level. The program Twitter feed has over 3,000 hits and gets quite a lot of significant retweets by people of very wide exposure. People use Facebook as well. Facebook is the other elephant in the room because people come to you trained how to use Facebook. And in many cases, Facebook is a dominant part of their online experience. So they might be quite aware in using the conventions that Facebook has exposed them to, but they might not be very aware of other stuff that we are very familiar with. So it's quite useful to see how we can build on this. So a number of things we do is we use a number of automatic online tools like if this then IFTD, there's some sort of weird initials, and Twitter feed to link things that we do in some posts and feed directly into Facebook or into Twitter so that we get as much traffic as we can without any effort on our part. Sloth is the main motivation. That's really important when you do things online. Blackboard, for example, copying things from year to year or transferring things, that's stuff that can make August a nightmare or actually a non-event if we have sorted the problem of migration. So I'm going to group things into, these are the things that we contribute to, personal blogs, news blogs here, and also content-specific posts that have to do with lectures and seminars and with associated material, usually images. And there's a lot of stuff that the students do themselves, because these tend to be motivated, independent individuals at postgrad level. They're quite happy to contribute and take responsibilities for this stuff. You do have to worry about this, how much of my work do I put online? I tend to be probably towards one end of the extreme where I say the more I have online of my work, the better it is. I don't think it's very good to keep people here, just have them come here to get the benefit of the material. The material can be out there. What they get here is the benefit of the curatorship, the narrative, the explanations that go with it. But the more we produce stuff that can be published out widely, the better. There is an element of updating of content which makes us think of the online not as the add-on, the bit that we hit a button and gets published, but the primary repository of the information. And that needs a change in how we do things at the departmental level. So the online storing of material might be the first place where you have stuff, rather than having things in Word documents that you then have to copy into a blog and so on, which means you'll never do it because you're too busy. I have good and bad things to say about institutional support. There is a very big change in recent years. CDoTL, digital development, ITS have been getting much more nimble, and I think they're becoming aware that you need to have an online presence. It cannot all be on the university servers, and it needs to enable people to try out different things. The bad thing especially is that they will charge you for any minute that they will spend on things. So it might be 250 quid to update the home page on the CMS if you don't have somebody to do it. But it is central to our development work because we're developing a lot of stuff that will be distance learning based. And the assumptions that everything will be online, publicly available, There's a very big problem there that a lot of the licenses that we have for our literature is EU orientated. If you want to have fun with the whole expansion in Malaysia thing, try to see how many of the licenses you have for resources in the library apply there. That's a biggie. So we're moving to things like this, and I have to nod my head to Helen Churchill for this. This is an enterprise social network that we're beginning to try out. So this is Facebook on steroids. It's built for big companies. It can handle a lot of files, a lot of content. It is used by Fortune 500 companies. And we're trying to see how can we slowly begin to roll things onto this, so we don't have to track projects through spreadsheets that we then copy onto another thing that is on somebody's laptop, then they'll leave on their research term, and you can't find the right version. But everything is always online, which also helps us streamline things like examinations, processes with externals. This is just us playing around with things, but go and have a look. Reading has a presence there, so it will pick up that you're a Reading person, and it will show you other people who are online and so on. So I think that in a year's time we will have something to show that is meaningful on this environment. And that's it. Right in time.